Welcome back. Scott Carr, founder of Aviate Youth. Great to be here with you again. This is my next free training video where we're going to talk about the mind. It's going to be a great topic. Just in the last video to review, we went through beliefs and talent, and you decided whether it's which quadrant you were in and whether you thought you might have more of a fixed mindset or more of a growth mindset. And that's important to understand because the growth mindset is what gets us to quadrant number 1, where the high performers are. And with respect to your own situation, whatever performance results that you're trying to improve, whether it's academic, personal, or a sport, having a growth mindset and understanding that success and learning are the only 2 categories that really happen for us is wonderful. If you're someone that thinks that you fail, that you're prone to failure, or you use that terminology, you probably have more of a fixed mindset. Anyhow, in my core roadmap training, which I'm going to talk to you about next, I can help you through that and help you understand. But let's get to the mind here today. This is a fascinating topic, and I want to start by talking about the fact that we have 2 minds, and the first part of our mind is the unconscious mind. Now, that is part of your mind that was formed by the time you were 6 years old, and it dominates 95 to 98% of all your actions, your behaviors, and your results. And it just so happens that our brain waves are such between the years 0 and 6 that we take everything in around our environment, and by about the age of 6, that becomes solidified based on the experiences that we had growing up in those first 6 years. So if you had parents that understood that and they had, and the environment that you grew up in was full of love, respect, and sharing, then chances are your unconscious mind that you default to, which controls 95 to 98% of what's going on for you moment to moment, day to day, chances are that's pretty solid. If, on the other hand, your experience in your first 6 years, and you might not remember them, but the fact is, if they were difficult, if they involved lack of respect, if they involved challenging circumstances or violence, you would have picked up on that growing up, and that is probably your unconscious mind. The fact that it's negative is causing you most of your difficulties today. It's really important to understand that. Most people talk in the frame of whether it's nurture or nature. What drives us forward? Well, really, day-to-day, moment-to-moment, it's whether our unconscious mind is dominating and whether it's positive or whether we're able to involve our conscious mind. Let's talk about that briefly. Conscious mind was formed about 30,000 years ago in evolution. It's a piece of our brain at the forebrain, and really it's the only thing that separates us from animals. No joke. That's the way it is. And our conscious mind uniquely, differently from any other species, allows us to plan, allows us to forecast, allows us to believe and have faith towards whatever it is that we're doing. And that's really unique in humans. Unfortunately, most of us don't understand that we have a conscious mind. All right, and if you're sitting there with your parents, they may not know this either, and it's not their fault. It's just, again, this is not what you hear day to day, and you don't get this in your schools necessarily, but that's why I've created Aviate Youth, so that you can get this information and you can leverage it, okay, to be able to ensure that you achieve your best results. All right, so let's then talk about my next graph, which is a conscious mind graph, which is a conscious mind is engaged, so that's the positive, and our conscious mind is totally unengaged, that's the negative, and then our unconscious mind is fully dominating or not, okay? And let's look at 4 different circumstances. Now in quadrant 4, if you've got a conscious mind that's not engaged and a unconscious mind that's not engaged, well, you're probably dreaming, but it probably involves some aspect of sleep, all right? And so we're not going to worry about quadrant 4 so much. And conversely, if we jump over to quadrant number 2, where we have an unconscious mind that's low, but a conscious mind that's highly engaged, that probably involves a state of deep meditation or hypnosis. Now, so if assuming that you're on your feet and you're in neither of those, then we're going to learn a little bit more about quadrants 3 and quadrants 1 and the differences. So in quadrant number 3, when we have low conscious mind involvement, we're not doing our best thinking, let's say, and that's low, but our conscious mind is dominating, and if our experiences in those first 6 years were not positive, all right, growing up, then what we have in that quadrant is we're acting, even though we're older, as if we're 6 years old with some of those negative behaviors, okay, and that's the reality, okay, for that quadrant. And what tends to happen is that this is where fear and doubt tend to consume us. Other things can as well, but because we're talking about belief and this thought leadership is around how you can establish self-belief to meet your primary objectives and improve your performance, I'll talk about fear and doubt. And so if someone is constantly living in fear of something, it's often imagined, and it's often because of their experiences from the ages of 0 to 6, and it's dominating their unconscious mind, and they're not able to override it with a conscious thought. So this is where we tend to do our worst thinking. Have you ever been caught where you're thinking to yourself, you're stuck having a bad moment, you're saying, just think. Well, you're probably talking about your conscious mind. That's the part of your mind that can lead you to a better bit of thinking and better results. Anyhow, so again, quadrant 3, we act as if we are 6 years old. We act as if we're prone to fear and doubt, and that's a tough place to be as someone in school making choices, whether you're an athlete, whether you're in performance. You need to overcome this. You know that. Fear and doubt need to be held at bay. So let's talk then about quadrant number 1, where we really want to be, where our conscious mind is fully engaged, and of course our unconscious mind is engaged too. Your unconscious mind is a tape player. You can override it for a period of time, but it's always there. And even when your conscious mind is engaged, the aspect of your self that isn't focused on by your conscious mind is being run by your unconscious mind anyway. Okay, that's the reality. Okay, but up in this quadrant is where we're able to overcome doubt and fear through self-talk, through auto-suggestion. Listen, people create themselves. They don't live in a world of talent, and they're not just born talented. They create themselves by using their imagination and overcoming doubts and fears for great performances. And they tend to operate in this zone. All right? So this is where the high achievers tend to live. Okay? For example, let's look at a situation right now. I'm not sure if you're a basketball fan. I tend to be. Right now we've got the NBA playoffs going on. LeBron James was a #1 pick several years ago in the NBA, and now he's the dominant player in the league. LeBron James had to continue to use his conscious mind and believe that he could get better and better. And that's the difference with him and other people that come in highly touted, athletes or performers that don't believe, that don't engage their conscious mind. They tend to fall down or they don't improve over time. Okay, so it's really important. So regardless of wherever you are in your life, if you want to up your game and get stronger, you got to be operating in zone number 1. Understand that you have a conscious mind and that it can allow you to think and dream bigger than your present situation. It's absolutely vital. That's what people do. They create themselves. They create themselves through the belief that they can achieve at a higher level and accomplish more in their life. That's it. You're not taught that in schools too much, but that's why I'm teaching that to you here. And that's where you want to be ultimately. Okay, so we definitely want to be able to move from quadrant 3 over to quadrant 1. And before I finish, that's a process. We constantly can slip back to zone 3, moment to moment, day to day. But those people who wake up on autopilot and really feeling confident about themselves, where they're able to overcome doubt and fear, this is where they're living in this zone. All right. So listen, I hope that served you, and that with some solid training, giving you a snapshot of the roadmap that I've created for youth and for parents to really understand what motivates us, what engages us day to day in our academics and our performances, and understanding the mind is really crucial. I look forward to delivering you one more series of free training. We're going to talk about our thoughts next, and I look forward to seeing you in that video. Take care.